Welcome to the virtual Electromagnetic Spectrum Lab. I will be keeping this introduction brief as most of the information you need can be found on the supplemental PDF file. This includes information about light, the electromagnetic spectrum, types of line spectra, the objective for today's lab, and instructions. So make sure you take a look at that if you haven't already. You will also be responsible for identifying two types of mystery gases during this lab, and the identification key to help you do that can be found on the supplemental PDF as well. To give you a brief overview of what we'll be doing during this lab, we are going to look at tubes full of gas that will glow when they become heated. If you've ever seen a neon light, that's basically what we're going to be looking at today. However, a neon light was named because it's filled with neon gas. We are going to be looking at all sorts of different types of gases today and the colors they produce. In order to break light apart into its spectra, we will be using diffraction grating and a spectrometer. These separate polychromatic light, which is what you see with your bare eyes, into its constituent wavelengths by displaying them at different angles so they all become distinct and separate. You are going to be drawing what you see when I hold up the diffraction grating in front of the different lights on your handout. You also have 3 additional questions to answer, which you can do either before or after we view the lights. Again, if you need help or have additional questions, refer back to the supplemental PDF file. So let's get started. I'll hold up the diffraction gradient, and you're going to want to draw what you see, and you want to put vertical color lines under the wavelength that they are associated with. So your reds and your oranges are going to be closer to the 700 nanometer side, your blues and purples closer to the 400 nanometer side. And then you're going to want to determine if it's a continuous, absorption, or emission spectra. And the first light that we're looking at here, this is from hydrogen gas. So you should see a variety of different lines. Now you're seeing these lines horizontally, but you're going to be drawing them vertically on your data sheet, corresponding with the wavelength in nanometers that the colors correspond to. And I'll leave this up here for about 30 seconds before we switch to our next light source. Here we have our nitrogen gas. So again, even though those bands are horizontal, make sure to draw them vertically on your data sheet. Here we have carbon dioxide. Here is helium. Here is krypton. This is argon. This is neat. Here is xenon. You'll notice on your handout that you now have a couple mystery gases to identify. So this is your first mystery gas, and you're going to have kind of a photo bank to compare the spectra to. And using that bank, you're going to try to match it up and determine what this mystery gas is. Here is the second mystery gas, so you want to figure this out in the same way as the last one.
You'll notice on your handout we also want to look at a fluorescent light, which are the lights we have here in the room. It will actually be a lot easier to see the fluorescent light spectrum by using a spectrometer, which you can see here. The spectrometer has a viewport on the end, which normally you would look directly into, but I will be holding that viewport up to the camera lens so you can get a good view. You should see the spectrum at the bottom of the screen as horizontal lines and a still photo to the right as a reference of what you should look for. Remember, even though the lines appear horizontal, you want to draw them vertically on your handout. We also want to take a look at the sunlight, so we are now outside, and this is another light that will look better through the spectrometer. So I will hold up the viewport to the camera lens. At the bottom of your screen, you will see the sunlight spectra as well as a still picture to guide you in what you're looking for. This spectra should look different from the other spectra we've seen so far, so keep that in mind as you're filling out your handout.
Okay, that brings today's lab to an end. If you need to go back to view any of the lights or their spectra again, be sure to ask your teacher. Also, don't forget to answer the 3 additional questions. I hope you enjoyed viewing the lights today and their spectra.